Hello and welcome. Today I am going to discuss some aspects of the poem Chimney Sweeper by William Blake. This is in continuation of the last discussion where we discussed in detail about the context in which the poem was written by the poet, and we discussed some aspects about Blake's poetry. Today I am going to discuss some aspects of literary appreciation of the poem. What types of rhyme scheme has been followed in the poem, or what types of figures of speech have been utilized by the poet to make his expression vivid and impressive, and what type of diction has been used by the poem. First, come to the rhyme scheme. The poet uses the simple rhyme scheme of A, in all the 6 stanzas of the first part of the poem that was published in 1789 in the collection Songs of Innocence. And the rhyme scheme followed by the poet in the second part of the poem that was published together with the first part in 1794 in Songs of Experience is A, B in the first stanza, and then CD in the second and third stanzas of the third parts of the poems. In rhyme scheme A, the first 2 lines of the stanza rhyme together and the second 2 lines of the stanza rhyme together. This pattern has been followed in all the 4-line stanzas that are 6 in number in the first part of the poem. And in the second part of the poem, where again there are 4-line stanzas, 3 4-line stanzas. In those stanzas, in the first stanza we have A, that means the first line rhymes with the second line and the third line rhymes with the fourth line. In the second and third stanzas, a difference has been made by the poet in the rhyme scheme, where the first line of the poem rhymes with the third line and second line of the poem rhymes with the fourth line. So this is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Now come to some discussion about the figures of speech. We find the poet has beautifully employed alliteration in the 4th line of the first stanza when he says, "So your chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep." This repetition of S sound in succeeding stressed syllables of the successive words is a beautiful example of alliteration. Again, in the 4th stanza, when the poet talks about the children who have been set free from the black coffins by the angel, and uses the expression leaping, laughing, they run. Again, there is alliteration in the expression leaping, laughing, they run. And again, and wash in a river and shine in the sun. In this expression, shine in the sun also, there is the use of alliteration. Then the poet uses the technique of contradiction or contradictory expression when he says in the last stanza of the first part of the poem, though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. And there is a use of simile also when the poet discusses little Tom Decker, another child employed as a chimney sweeper, and says that he was being shaved of his curly hair that was like a lamb's back. This is a simile that presents a painful picture of that little child who is being shaved off for working in the chimney. And now come to the second part of the poem. As we have discussed in the last discussion, that the poet in his Songs of Innocence poems were not very attacking or not very harsh, not very revolutionary. He was humble, he was gentle, he was noble. But in his Songs of Experience, he is quite a different personality. He is a bitter attacker, he is a bitter critic of the elements of society, of the injustice meted out to the children of his times. And in the second part, he uses very dark symbols like happy upon the heath. Here the heath, that means a barren place or a wild, uncultivated area where no human beings would like to stay, where evil spirits prefer to stay. So he says he was happy upon the heath. So he is becoming ironical and sarcastic. The poet has used irony and sarcasm in such expressions, happy upon the heath and smiled among the winter's snow. In these two lines, the contradictory conditions of the inner state of the mind of the child and the outer state of his existence has been beautifully contrasted. That gives a painful picture of the child who has been put to a painful condition because he is not showing any anger, displeasure, he is smiling, he is not crying, and so his parents have handed him over to the cruel owners of the chimneys who employ them. And so he says he has been clothed in the clothes of death. So these are the imageries, dark imageries, clothes of death, winter's snow, the heath. All these things signify the painful existence of the child who has been forced to work in the dangerous chimneys to clean them. And there is a beautiful juxtaposition putting two just opposite things together when in the very first line of the poem, in the second part, he says, a little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep in knots of woe. This little black thing is a metaphorical expression for the little child, for the chimney sweeper, and among the snow is also a metaphorical expression of the happiness of the owners of the chimneys, the rich class, like the industrialists of the time. They are the happy lot, they are the white lot, they are the snow. But there is a black thing, that little child, that is the black aspect. We can also explain it that this little black thing is a black spot on the good aspects of society. This is a scar on the society. This custom or this system of employing little innocent children to work as a chimney sweeper in dangerous conditions is a black aspect or a black spot on the face of the society. So these are some aspects of literary criticism. And in the last line also, we must not forget, the poet says that they make up a heaven of our misery. The poet is making the child to say that he is full of misery, but his misery is a source of happiness for the people who claim to be the worshippers of God, the priest and the king. So all those who are supposed to take care of the innocent, who are supposed to take care of the needy or the suffering or the persons who require help, they have been blind to the injustice meted out to them. Thank you.